Hello and welcome back to another lesson here. Today, this is the second time I'm recording this. The first time my microphone wasn't working. I didn't have it hooked up. So this is the second time I'm recording this. And I'm going to try to remember that you haven't seen anything before, even though it feels like you have. So today we're going to talk about something that you've probably all done. You probably saw it from the title, so it's not like I can really create any suspense. We're talking about selfies. And what I'm going to ask you to do in this lesson is to take your opinion, and I'm sure you've been told your opinion is never wrong, but in this class, I'm going to ask you to form an opinion, but then back it up with evidence from the text. You probably hate to hear me say that, evidence from the text. So yes, you have an opinion. It's valid. It's fine. But to make it stronger, you have to prove it from like experts' opinions. Now, today's going to be a little different because they're not really experts. They're people your age, but an editor has read their opinion and has vetted it. When something has been vetted, it's just looked over to make sure it's accurate. And again, we're talking about opinions, but it's a little different, except this opinion it carries more weight because it's been published. People have looked it over to make sure it's accurate. Again, we're still talking about opinions though. So the question today is, are selfies, when you post them on social media, are selfies healthy or are they a cry for help? Does someone who take a lot of selfies have a lot of self-confidence, or do they have low self-esteem? So I'm going to ask you to form your opinion on that. And then, of course, I'm going to ask you to eventually, not today, I'm just asking you to look over the information. I'm going to ask you to back up your opinion with information from what we read today. Okay. The article will be available in Google Classroom, but if you don't want to read it on your own, I'm going to read it to you. So you can see that the title of this article is Pro-Con. Pro, good stuff. Con, bad stuff. So the good things and the bad things about selfies. Are selfies an act of self-love or a cry for attention? And you can see these kids right here. They're taking a selfie. Now I'm an old guy, and of course selfies weren't around when I was younger. But I just want to talk about this girl, her angle. You probably know this already, but it's best to get an angle like a little bit above, especially when you're an older guy like me. Like you don't want to see the double chin, but I can't go too high, and then you'll see that I'm bald. So there's a sweet spot somewhere in here. I mean, it's as good as this gets, but I think her angle is a little low. Are selfies a way to boost confidence, or are they harmful? Two students share their opinion. I don't know. Do you think that'll get a lot of clicks on social media? I think you have to be 13. You should be 13 to post anywhere on social media. So I don't know if she has I don't know if she has an Instagram. I don't think even young people use Instagram anymore, right? A snap. You think she'll put that on a snap? She'll snap it. She'll TikTok it. Maybe she'll TikTok it. I don't know. Are selfie takers attention seekers or just active sharers? Is posting a selfie on social media a sign of low self-esteem or a way to shape and improve your self-confidence? Taking and sharing selfies is a popular way to show your friends and family what you're doing and feeling in the moment. Not everyone agrees on whether the effects of selfies are positive or negative, though. In this article, two high school students share their opposing views on selfies. Now, opposing, it looks a lot like opposite. So opposing views are opposite views, the exact opposite. And we've talked about like thesis statements in here. And if you look, remember the thesis statement usually comes at the end of the first paragraph. So your last sentence of the first paragraph is usually the thesis statement, like that one sentence that sums up everything you're writing. And here, that is true. Yep, first paragraph in this article, 2 high school students share their opposing views on selfies. That's what this article is about. We've got 2 students, they feel the opposite, they share it with us. Now, from this first title, I can imagine that you know this person's opinion. Self-love doesn't come from likes, says Joy Gillette. Self-love doesn't come from likes. So when you're reading these subheadings, it's very important to read these and then think about what you will be reading. So right now I'm thinking this person I'm about to read for the next few paragraphs here, she is against selfies. She's on the con side of selfies. When someone posts a selfie on Instagram with the caption, "I'm bored," I find it really uncalled for. To me, it's a cry for attention. It is a need for affirmation. Big word there. Comes from affirmed. So it's kind of like to be told you're right, to be told you're correct, to be told like what you're doing is okay. So people, in her opinion, who take selfies, like they need attention. Me. All the focus is on me. They need that affirmation. No one should ever get to a point where they feel the need to share pictures of themselves just to get attention. I understand that when a person doesn't get enough attention, they can look to social media as a way to feel good about themselves. They know someone out there will give them the attention they're craving. Instagram can boost. I don't know why they have that highlighted. It's pretty easy. But if you are reading this on your own, you can just highlight this. You can't hear the way it's pronounced. But if you click on that, it will give you an example sentence. So if you boost something, you make an increase in how much there is of it or how much power it has. So boost a person's self-confidence because, of course, Instagram is primarily like its first thing, primarily the main reason. Instagram is primarily for photos. This generation has a lot of self-esteem issues. And since technology is more prevalent, if something is prevalent, it happens a lot in many places. All right, got it. Prevalent than ever. People look at social media as a way to seek validation. Validation, so meaning it's true, it's valid. Seek validation from the whole world. Some may argue that posting these selfies isn't a cry for attention, but an act of self-confidence. But how can flaunting your body on social media be an act of confidence? When a person posts a selfie, people may express judgment. You probably have seen that. I know that people can be cruel. People probably post judgment all the time. That's what Instagram, TikTok, to leave the comments like, "Hey, I really like this," or "Why did you do this? You're an idiot." Put them down or call them out. A better way to express self-love is to feel comfortable with your body and everything you use it for, not count the number of favorites it gets on Instagram. And this is Joy Gillette, attends Harold L. Richards High School. She is a correspondent for The MASH. What's The MASH? The MASH is the Chicago Tribune's newspaper and website written for teens, by teens. The MASH. So if this person is against selfies, look at this. I bet this person, Katie Carmen, I bet she's going to be for selfies. Selfies shape, let me try that again. Selfies Shape Confidence by Katie Carmen. Growing up in an age where our social media presence defines us, Our personalities begin to emerge. So maybe like you might have heard, like coming out of your shell, emerge. Um, Man, in a lot of like horror movies, the main villain might emerge from the ground, just kind of swelling up there. A hand comes out from out of nowhere underneath the ground, grab somebody. Our personalities begin to emerge through the eyes of our followers. On apps like Instagram and Facebook, nobody your age uses Facebook, do they? I am able to tailor for like crafts or make just how I want it. My post to appear a certain way. While at school, I may be the quiet girl. On my iPhone, on my iPhone 1, what? She's an iPhone 1? What? Why is she still using an iPhone 1? Oh, wait a minute. On my iPhone, I transform into the person I want to be on and off screen. In reality, I'm not the kind of student who can show up to school in bold red lipstick. However, I don't have a single fear posting a selfie of an outfit or even a pose that I'm proud of. It's an uncomfortable concept for humanity, showcasing individual pictures of ourselves for the world to see. It may be self indulgent. So, self indulgent might be doing too much of a good thing. So, if somebody has a lot of money and they're just spending it on everything that makes them feel better, we might call them self indulgent. Or certainly taking pictures of yourself and posting them all over the place for people to see, she thinks is self indulgent, indulging, like making yourself happy too much. It's not a good thing, being indulgent. But it's not self loathing, which is another word for hating, loathe. If you really don't like someone, instead of saying, I hate that person, I loathe that person. It's even worse than hate. There's no shame in sharing a picture that you feel accurately captures whatever message you wish to send to your followers, especially for adolescents. Ooh, fancy word for young people, teenagers, especially for adolescents, maybe a little younger than teenagers too. Self esteem roller coasters are all too familiar. Posting a flattering selfie isn't a cry for attention, it's a statement. It's saying more to yourself than to your followers, that you're proud of the face that stares back at you from your screen. I don't need a million likes or a dozen compliments for that extra motivational push. You know what motivation is, right? Motivation, it makes you want to do something. Sometimes you may wake up in the morning and you may need to find the motivation to go to school. And by go to school, I mean turn on your computer. What I do need is the strength to say, I don't care what you think. I know I look good. And for those of you who do have a problem, simply unfollow said selfie offender. Case closed. Katie Carmen attends North Shore Country Day High School. She was a correspondent for the MASH. The MASH is we already know this from the last person, Chicago Tribune's newspaper and website written for teens by teens. Right. That's the article. Hopefully you have formed an opinion. I doubt that article has changed your opinion in any way, but maybe it just kind of confirmed what you thought. If before you read this, you thought, oh, selfies are a good thing, you probably now feel emboldened. Like, yes, I'm right, selfies. And the opposite is probably true. If you didn't like selfies before, you probably, Katie, I think was her name. No, the first one, Joy. You probably sided. You probably realized like what Joy was saying. Like, yeah, she's on to something. All right. I hope this helps and makes it a little easier to figure out what this article is about.